Welcome to the KW Next Gen podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin Pennington, and part of the Next Gen team. We will hear stories from young adults who are living big lives and attaining really big goals. KW Next Gen is a 501c3 nonprofit that was founded by Gary Keller of Keller Williams. Our mission is to empower and equip the next generation of leaders and entrepreneurs with the tools needed to remove limiting beliefs, take action, and live a big life. KW Next Gen is founded on the models and systems of Quantum Leap, the material that Gary Keller has been teaching for years. It helps people understand how to build big businesses, to live really fulfilling lives, to understand financial literacy, and remove all of those blockages. So join us as we talk with our young adults who are implementing these practices and really accomplishing their big dreams at a young age. We'll also have a chance to talk with our instructors, our board members, and our coaches who are pouring into the next generation and making a really big impact on their community and our world at large. So let's jump right in. Hi there, Corey. How is your day going?
Good. Hey, Caitlin, how are you doing? I'm doing really well today.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Well, I'm excited to catch up with you. So let's jump right in. Corey, what is your full name? How old are you? And where are you from?
Okay. I am Corey Collins. I am 30 years old, and I'm from Long Beach, California.
Very cool. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I went to college in Long Beach.
Really?
Long Beach has a very, special place in my heart and such a fun city. So I still have some really good friends that live in Long Beach as well.
Nice. Yeah, I grew up there until I was about 18.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So shout out to any LBC people.
definitely.
Very cool. So, in your own words, I know you've had a chance to be part of the KW Next Gen community for quite a while now. In your own words, what is KW Next Gen and how are you involved?
To me, KW Next Gen is an organization, nonprofit organization that supports young adults to just level up, whether that's personally, professionally. They utilize events, coaching, different resources. The scholarship's a big one that just elevate others who might be lost on the path of what they really want to do, or helping them really solidify like a game plan and put it into action. I got involved with KW Next Gen through Scott Labar. He's actually one of the instructors with KW Next Gen. And I used to work with him at a nonprofit called Just in Time for Foster Youth. And he started a Quantum Leap cohort. So that led me to KW Next Gen.
I love the part of that you said, like helping people that might be kind of lost. I feel like we're all just figuring out life, all the
Yeah,
time.
definitely.
And so we can all at different times feel lost. And quite frankly, like if we're not feeling a little unsure of where we're going, we're probably not stretching ourselves enough. And so I think it's actually a good thing to feel a little bit like what's next. And
Yeah.
I'm so thankful. Yeah, Scott Labar has been a big part of KW Next Gen and has introduced a lot of young people into the KW Next Gen community. So I'm so glad that you were introduced to us through him as well. What was your first quantum leap that you took? Did you take it with Scott initially?
Yeah. So are you talking about just the like the little cohort groups like GPS and MVP?
Yeah, so like any of your first classes, like I don't know, you might have done one of the shorter form classes, or you might have done a full quantum leap that's the full 8-hour day. Cause then I know that you eventually came to QL Summit. But what
Yeah.
was the first classes that you did? And maybe it was that you all did it in like a cohort fashion. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so we did do it in a cohort fashion through the organization that he was working at. It started with the GPS workshop, then it led into the MVP MP workshop. And then I kind of just went to like various other workshops with Scott. Like I just kind of became like his mentee and kind of like watched him do these things. And so it was actually really interesting. My story with getting into Quantum Leap was when he introduced it to me. I think I was 28 at the time, and I think that was the age cutoff. And so he was like, "Hey, like you might not be able to get the scholarship, so I don't know if you want to continue doing it." And I was like, "Hey, like I don't really mind. I actually still want to be involved because I was interested in the GPS. I was in a space in my life where like I wanted to be a little more structured." And accountable for what I could and couldn't do and like start taking action. So I was like, no, like I'll still do it. You know what I mean? And then a couple months went by, and then you guys had actually raised the age limit. So then I remember me and him were in the office and we were just like, woo, that's a God shot, you know? And I just got really excited, you know what I mean? And I felt like I was aligned, you know what I mean? It felt like this was something that was meant for me to do. So,
Wow, I didn't realize that part of the story, and so
mhm,
thank you so much for sharing that, and yeah, so our programs do help our coaching and our scholarships are for 18 to 29-year-olds, but I think that is a really good reminder that it's not necessarily just a path to a scholarship, like, that is sometimes a misconception that it's like, "Oh, you do the class or you go through coaching just to get to the scholarship," but I often tell and the people that actually participate will say that the classes and the coaching are far more valuable than the scholarship themselves because those give you lifelong skills to be able to implement. And if you implement them, then you create a life and a career that is giving you funds and resources and all these other things. Not to say that the scholarship is, the scholarship is that extra little bump. But if you take the other things seriously, if you take the classes and the coaching and you implement them into your life, then I like to think that, like, the scholarship is chump change over the course of your lifetime, right? Because you're
no, I mean,
that's a really big life.
yeah, and I agree. Like the scholarship wasn't even like the forefront of my mind when I got involved. You know what I mean? I think the skills and the mindset and the strategies that Quantum Leap introduces to you is beneficial for a lifetime, like you said. So,
Yeah, and I'm just so glad that you really followed your gut on that of being like, "I'm gonna still participate in this, I'm gonna still find value in it, I'm gonna still commit myself to it," and then I also think that yeah, I love hearing that it was kind of aligned, that sometimes new doors open for us and things if we step in a right direction, then suddenly new opportunities open up. So we did expand the age range from 28 to 29, just in time to be able to, scooch right in there before you. So that's really exciting, and I'm so glad you were able to do that. So you did mention the GPS and the NBBBP. Those were two of the original, classes that you participated in. And the GPS allows people to create a goal and then priorities and strategies. So it takes a big goal and it breaks it down into smaller pieces and allows you to have that roadmap. And I really like that you brought up the MVBBP because also that allows you to create your missions, your values, your belief systems, and to be able to actually like decide what is important to me, not to the world, not to who raised me, not to whatever the internet says or whatever, or even your mentor, it's like what's really important to you. So can you tell a little bit more about how you've implemented some of those skills into your life now a few years down the road?
yeah, so I think when I came up with my like overall mission statement, right, which was to heal, or the mission for my life was to inspire, heal, and uplift others utilizing the power of music and my voice because I've always wanted to be a singer, or I don't have to be famous or anything like that, but I've always felt like I have a gift, right? And I wanted to give that back to the world, you know, and music has been a big part of my life and it's been a big part of like how I express my emotions, you know. So now like after like the first time like I got goals, priority strategies, I guess the way that the course of my life went was kind of like getting over my own fear, right? Because when I got down to like doing like the GPS and like all that stuff, it was more so everything that kept coming up was more so just like, oh, like I do have the time, but like I really wasn't making the time to do it, right? Like I would so distracted with like all these different worldly clamors and then being insecure about my own voice and being insecure about just succeeding in general that I would just stop myself, you know? And so what Quantum Leap really helped me do was build that confidence, man, like build that confidence within myself. And I just took baby steps, right? So every strategy I did, I just did it, right? I didn't second guess myself. Every opportunity I wanted to take, I was like, I couldn't, like I just stopped making excuses for myself. You know what I mean? And so I got involved in like Berklee School of Music. I went to school for like audio production for a little while. And then I got involved in vocal coaching, which I think I've talked to you about. So like for the past year, I've been doing vocal coaching. And she's been able to introduce me to a lot of networks of people. She's been able to put me in concerts. I actually just had a concert on Sunday. So like I've done like 3 concerts now total. This is my first time like actually like being up on stage and like doing it. And the first time was so scary. Like I beat myself up because like I think I just went flat. But at the end of it, I was still like very proud of myself, because Quantum Leap has also like helped me redirect my mindset, right? It's like sometimes I do fail. Sometimes it's not going to work out the way that I think, but I keep going, and it gets better and it gets easier and it gets better and it gets easier. And I think the last time I went to the Quantum Leap Summit, my mission stayed the same, but I think my overall goal changed because I think initially, like, I just wanted to like release like an EP, to like, give to like my friends, family, loved ones. And now I'm on the path to become a music therapist because I think overall, I really want to be a healer. You know what I mean? I want to be able to help people express what they're going through and support them through their mental instabilities and stuff like that. And honestly, through that path, in my career now, I'm actually a program manager for a mental health facility supporting adolescents and adults through their mental health issues, medication management, and stuff like that. Um, that's just first on my path. I'm glad I'm here. This is my first time also being like a manager and leadership. And so, even when I did the coaching, like that, the coaching aspect really helped me build my confidence to the point of like, I can be a leader, you know what I mean, in my own right. So that's how I ended up here. And now I'm back in school, um, trying to finish my psychology degree, right? I have a degree in computer science, but I went back for psychology because I really want to be a music therapist now. So that's how my life's been, honestly. It's been really cool. I've just been a lot more confident in who I am and stopped doubting myself, and really remembering what my mission is in life, right? Like, I think for a long time too, I was just so scared to like have this big heart, because I think the world can sometimes be very mean and like put a damper on things, you know what I mean? And like just reminding myself, like, no, like, don't close your heart out. Like, people need you. You know what I mean? People need your inspiration. People need to know like what you've gone through and inspire them to keep going. You know what I mean? So
Wow. Oh my gosh, Corey, there is so much there that it's gonna make me cry too. So, that's so awesome. Like, it just feels like you've taken so many different pieces of a puzzle that is who you are, who you're learning to be, different interests that you have, ways that you want to give back to the world, and you're starting to put your own puzzle together. And there is one of the stories that Gary tends to talk about is like when you put the man together, or when you put the person together, the world falls into place. Just like hearing you describe your journey in the last year, couple years, and everything that led up to that beginning, it sounds like that's what you're doing for your world and your life. Is that you're taking like the musical piece that you knew you had an interest in, and you're like, you know what, I'm actually going to take this seriously enough to get the mentors and the training and the knowledge to actually be able to do it. And then I just love that you've actually found the confidence in yourself too, to be like, "I'm gonna get up on stage and I'm gonna get called." And, it's just like anything, like, if we are not slightly scared of it, or if we don't feel like
Mhm.
we're failing forward a little bit, then again, we're probably not shooting high enough, because if we stay in our comfort zone and nothing ever goes wrong, then we're probably not stretching ourselves. So I just like think it's so awesome and so proud of you to be able to be like, no, I'm going to get up on these stages and I'm going to perform. And what you said too is like it starts to get easier, right? Because you're putting the pieces together to start get better and better in your craft. And then I just like that was such like a surprise to me out of left field, of the fact that you're working with a mental health facility and you're being able to weave those two things together. Because I utilizing art in any format, like I love to dance, and I think dance is like a beautiful medicine and has been the
Me
most
too.
influential part of my mental health journey and the most healing part of my mental health journey. And so it's like, I think that you using music, or if you like to dance too, or whatever, like there's a reason why these art forms have stood the test of time. And that in every culture all over the world from the beginning of history, people have used music and dance and singing and everything. It's because we're allowed to emote and we're allowed to move through our feelings and to address our happiness and our sadness and our grief and our celebrations and everything in between, everything that makes us humans. And
Mhm.
there's a reason why people need to like express it in an art form.
Right? Yeah.
Sometimes just saying it is not enough, or sometimes thinking is really confusing. And so, I could like hear about all that you're doing with that all day. So that's so great.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much just for sharing that. One other piece that I just did not want to leave there is you saying that, the fear of having a big heart and the fear of like, caring. And I just want to honor that so much of the fact that it's the most needed thing in the world is for people to keep their hearts open and to keep the love out there in the world and to wanna help others, and just honoring the fact that that can be a very vulnerable state for all of us. It can allow us to open ourselves to hurt or ridicule or, or just anything. Like, when we allow ourselves to have anything come in, and just knowing though that, like, your contribution to the world is so, so important and it's so meaningful. So to keep doing that even when it maybe feels hard is so important.
No, yeah. And thank you. I think it can be really hard and acknowledging that, like, when you do stay in that space, like the people who show up for you are the people that are supposed to be aligned in your life, right? Like there's gonna be people that you don't even expect to support you and be your foundation and lift you up when like you are down. So yeah.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's so true, and just trusting that too, of, like, the people that are meant for me will stay, and the people that aren't, like, have a lovely life, go ahead
Yeah,
and keep it
exactly.
moving, and just knowing that when you stay true to yourself, then the right people are, like, magnetically drawn to you, and just knowing that, that's so great. So kind of going back, so it sounds like you've really implemented a lot of what you've learned and just like everything that has made you you. If someone like was wondering about taking a KW Next Gen class, a Quantum Leap class, or participating in the coaching, what would you maybe tell someone now that you're 30? Like, what would you tell someone that was maybe in their 20s or like young 20s as advice? Why would they be interested maybe in these programs?
I would say it's hard. So many things come up. I would say no matter where you are in life, if you feel like you're doing great, if you feel like you're not doing good enough, it is a great opportunity to get this knowledge now. And it's not even just like it's not like base knowledge or base resources or when I went into it too, I kind of thought like, oh, like the coaching will help me with like my music career or whatever, you know what I mean? And I experienced so much more. I experienced so much, honestly, like internal work, just who I was as a person, who I was scared to be, mindsets that, I had to get rid of and implement new mindsets to find out what I wanted to do. And so, like, if you're young and you don't, even if you take the courses and you don't end up doing what you're supposed to do, like you gain so much insight, you gain so much interpersonal knowledge, and you gain uh people, like I don't know how to say that, like you meet all these amazing people, and you really never know who's going to be what for you, you know what I mean? All these people are in the same mindset. All these people have the same questions. All these people have the same fears. And allowing yourself to open up yourself to that and put your hand out and introduce yourself, tell people who you are is such an amazing feeling. And like you said before, it opens so many doors, no matter where you are. You're 18, 20, 21, like doesn't matter. You're always going to remember this experience. You're always going to remember these ideologies. You're always going to remember these methods and it'll be instilled in you, and take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like have fun with it, because it has been very fun, but like take it seriously. Stuff like this always comes up in my mind, no matter where I'm at in life. I always revert back to, I even have the Quantum Leap handbook at my house. I open it up and I just remind myself, what I can do, what I'm capable of, because it's always about, and Gary talks about it a lot, our internal life, right? Reflects our external life. So as long as I'm okay on the inside and like I'm keeping my mindset positive and optimistic, like those things will shine through.
That's so, so true. And I think the way that you said being scared to be the person I'm capable of being, or it wasn't something like that. But I think that is so profound to remind ourselves that sometimes we are scared to be the person that we can be.
Hmm.
and changing our mindset enough to have that confidence or surrounding ourselves with people that have like are cheering us on and are wanting to live their own version of their biggest selves. And so it's like this like perfect little tornado of like, oh, well, if they're really accomplishing something exciting, then that gives me the confidence of like, oh, so can I. Because success is not, a limited resource whatsoever. And so when you surround yourself with people that want to accomplish big things, they're cheering you on, you're cheering them on, and it just is like this beautiful domino effect. And I think it also is okay to recognize that we all are scared to be the person that we can be sometimes. Then, if we break through that threshold of being scared, if we face that fear, then we grow into a more extensive version of ourselves. And then, spoiler alert,
Yeah.
I've now learned a few more years into my life, and I'm sure I'm gonna continue to learn is what I've realized is, like, that just keeps happening because then as you grow into a bigger version of yourself, then you're like, "Well, I accomplished that. Maybe I can accomplish something even bigger." But that bigger is scary again, and so then you have to grow into that, and grow into that, and grow into that. It's like but it's then creating that track record of, like, just because it's scary doesn't mean that I can't do it, or just
Absolutely.
because it seems big doesn't mean it's not attainable. And then you just
Absolutely.
start, like, leveling up and, like, bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
And it's so much fun.
Yeah, exactly, and I
Yeah.
love that you said, like, have fun with it, like, take it seriously, but also have fun with it because it's almost like I sometimes am like, if I just remember that life is just a video game where I'm like, "Let's just if I can level up," and if I can't, whatever, I'll
Yeah.
start the level over again. I'll fall and then I'll get back up and I'll like, start again. And at the end of the day, like that's all there is to it is like, okay, that's fine. Let's see if we level up or let's see if we like fall on our face and learn something from it. Either way.
Absolutely. Yeah. The
Yeah.
journey. I use that analogy a lot, actually.
Oh, yeah? Oh, cool. Well, then, yes, it's very relevant. You've touched on this a little bit, but is there beyond like that fear or getting past that, being scared, and then obviously leveling up in your career and in your life, is there anything very specific that you feel like you've used Quantum Leap to overcome that maybe you grew up with or something that was in your past that you feel like you've really leveled up into like a new form of yourself because of QL?
Yeah, sure. I guess I would be a little more vulnerable too. I think so the coaching, right? I know I touched on it a little bit, but at that time in my life, I actually had just got let go from my job. And there was a lot of tumultuous kind of emotions going on at that job and I think internally as well. And I think the coaching aspect had just started for me, right? And so when I was saying like, oh, I just thought the coaching was going to be like for just like my music and like what I wanted to do specifically, it started kind of off like that. And I kind of asked the coach, her name's Brittany, a little bit more about like what she was here to really do, like what was her intention, right? And she kind of broke it down to say like I'm not just someone who like I don't know anything about music, you know what I mean? So like don't have that expectation. I'm here as like a life coach. What are some things that one, like, yeah, you want to work on with, getting your music and your goals ready? And two, like, what are the things you're struggling with, And so, like, I got actually really vulnerable with my coach. And there were sessions where, like, I was just crying, because I think that at the time I was getting out of this mindset of like being in survival mode, right? Like I felt like for a long time in my life, I had to grow up early. I had to be a provider. And like I've always been able to make things happen, but from a place of like fear and from a place of like I was never going to have enough, from a place of lack, you know what I mean? And so at this time period, like I think I had felt like I had done so much at this job and like put so much of myself into it and for it to just fall through and like people not value who I was, like it had been a pattern in my life that kept coming up, and so my coach kind of helped me recognize like want to get out of this mindset. Like you've done it. You're not there anymore. Remember where you are. I had a roof over my head. It wasn't, my family is no discredit to people who still live with their family, but like I was in a space where I was very independent, you know what I mean? And she's like, you've done these things, you know how to do these things. It doesn't matter who doesn't acknowledge you today. You have to acknowledge yourself for like the things that you've been able to do. You know what I mean? And it helped me get out of that mindset to realize, like, one, like I've been through worse, and two, like I'm not there. I have the resources today. I have the network of people today. I have the strength, the confidence to do the things I said that I was going to do, right? Like, even though this job didn't work out, like I did so many amazing things. And like, I need to acknowledge myself for that. Just because someone else said I wasn't doing or performing enough, or, whatever the case may be, doesn't mean that I didn't make an impact. You know what I mean? And so I want to shout out to the coaching aspect a lot, because like, I was going to cry, because like that time period, like it was, I think in my life, I was just so down on myself, and I felt like I was very worthless, and I felt like I had nothing to really offer this world. You know what I mean? This one person who, like, her intention was just to help me, like, move towards, the summit and the scholarship, helped me so much more in my life. And it was just so profound for me to be able to have that experience and tell someone how I was feeling, and tell someone the things I was struggling with, and then to come up with a game plan of like, who am I allowing in my life? What is my self worth? You know what I mean? How to manage my emotions in a different way, how to channel my emotions into my creativity. You know what I mean? How to channel my authenticity, because that's one of my biggest core values is authenticity, right? And melting that mask away. You know what I mean? I think for a long time too, like I had this armor that just was like so impenetrable because of, people, places and things that have done me quote unquote wrong, you know what I mean? That I wasn't even allowing blessings to come into my life, or put myself in the face of opportunities that I could take advantage of, And so I think the coaching aspect really, really made a huge impact, and really, really helped me make a full overall switch into the skills, the knowledge, the resilience, the confidence, all of that, because I didn't think that I was gonna make it, emotionally, right? Like I just felt like, oh, like I mean, just all these irrational fears, like I'm gonna be homeless, I'm just never gonna be enough. I should go back home. I just, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. And like that could be further from the truth. You know what I mean? So I think that was a big piece for me.
Just thank you for sharing all of that first and foremost and just being honest. I think it's such a testament to your current strength of being able to talk about it and being able to share about it and showing the fact that, yeah, sometimes when we take off the mask, that's the scariest thing we can do is to show the world who we really are and our fears and our insecurities and everything. But until we do, we're just faking it and we're not growing into a version of ourselves that are actually like secure and confident and all of that. And that ebbs and flows throughout life. And so that even when we have the moments where those old tendencies start to creep back in, remind ourselves that like it's okay. I've overcome this before, I will again. And just like and a big gratitude and shout out to Brittany Staten, who was your coach and
You know?
just a wonderful human being for sure. And just a testament to the coaches that volunteer their time and they
Hmm.
come and they say, "Yes, I'm willing to help you with your career, but let's talk about the person and
Yeah,
let's on being the
exactly.
person." And I do think that, therapists are great and different, like, you just gotta create, like, this whole group of people, but something about a coach who's saying, like, "Let me take the whole person, but let me actually give you some of these, like, skills and, like, action items to, like, grow into, like, the
Hmm.
best version of yourself." And I think
Hmm.
that that combination of really caring and listening with tactical skills can be, like, super powerful, which is why it's so beneficial.
Yeah, and I think the coaching specifically too is like, they're very honest, and that's what I love about it. Like,
Yeah.
they're not gonna sugarcoat anything. Not that like Brittany was rude or anything like that, but like they put the reality in your face,
Yeah.
and like, and that's why I say like I had to stop making excuses, because every time I would like come up with a game plan or something like that, like it was just an excuse as to why this had not been done yet or something like that, or me stopping myself from me, and the coaches are really just like, you sure? Like, are you? So I think that was really important as well.
Yeah, for sure, and I think it's also a good reminder too that none of us get to choose how we're raised. None of us get to choose the first kind of chapter of our lives. And so a lot of that can be for sure like a survival mode. It can be coming from a place of scarcity depending on how you grow up. It can be survival mode based on how you grow up. And that can come in so many different forms and fashions, but I think just honoring like that first chapter of our life, our childhood, where we don't get to be as in control, we don't get to make all of our own choices. Things happen to us because we're too young to be able to let, to be the ones that take control of it. And then I think it's so powerful and such a, again, like just to honor your journey of like getting into your 20s and saying, I'm going to step out on my own. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to start my own career. I'm going to live on my own. And also just recognizing that, like, anyone that's listening to this and any of us that has been through our 20s, that is freaking hard. That is really, really hard, especially for those of us that not everything is handed to us. Maybe some of us don't have this big safety net under of us. We are stepping into the world and figuring out adulthood without a guidebook. However, Sleep is probably the closest thing to a guidebook to adulthood that I
Yeah.
have find, and I have read a
Yeah.
lot of social like, self-development books. And so, like, I have done my homework, and yet I do feel like it's kind of as close to a manual of how to be an adult as you're gonna find.
I
It's
agree.
just okay that it's like, if you've grown up with a lot of tools, great. If you've grown up with some tools, great. If you were not given hardly any tools or, like, just survival mechanisms, and that's about it as a kid, that is okay because we all get to step into this new chapter of adulthood and say, I'm going to make the life that I want to make and I'm going to be the person I want to be. And I can take what made me who I am and leave what doesn't serve me anymore. Like that is the work to do. And it's not easy. But like a coach or a mentor, like you've had with Scott and Brittany, like they do help that or attending classes like Quantum Leap and all these other things, it does help to give you a little step up. So I'm just so glad you've used your resources. I'm glad that you continue to use your resources. And what's really, really cool from what I'm hearing is now that you're 30, still very young, you're starting to pass along so many amazing tools to other people. You're going to be able to help some with your music, with your psychology, with all of these different like little, not even little, giant tools that you are putting into your own tool belt and saying, these are the things that I choose to move forward with. And you're just going to impact so many people's lives. And I'm excited to witness it. I really am.
Yeah, that's the hope. And like I said, I don't think I've ever been a person of like, I want to be famous or anything like that. Like, I just want to know that like I've made an impact to inspire others and keep them alive and like keep them going and like seeing, people who have been struggling and seeing the lights come on and stuff like that's so rewarding. That's such a great feeling for me to have just from my little experience, like it is big for me and like acknowledging that like I choose to use my experience and like my past to like help others, and like if they want to listen to my music too, then like yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been
That's so,
fulfilling.
so cool. Well, I'm excited to hear your music in the future. Myself and the KW Next Gen team is always here to cheer you on. We love hearing updates from people. I feel like bragging about your success is welcomed here at any time. Feel free to reach out to us and like share, and I can continue to share with the
Of
community
course.
because I know anyone that's listening to this, I'm sure is just like, whoa, I cannot wait to see where Corey goes. Like, I can't wait to see what he does. And I definitely have that feeling, and I'm sure anyone that is listening to this is also just, like, excited to see even more of your journey. So before we wrap up here, I just wanna like, if there was someone listening, I can't imagine there would be any question in their head, but if someone is, in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they aren't gonna be able to participate in the coaching and scholarships, but they may be able to support young people, would you give them any advice as to maybe why they should support the young people of KW Next Gen?
Yeah, I think it's really, and this is my perception, like, I think that it's honestly really important to support the next generation, I always think about, like, how I grew up and, like, some of the things that I just wasn't shown or, like, introduced to or, like, had the capabilities of being introduced to, and I think that it's such a great opportunity to give back in that way, like, no matter where you come from, I think from what I've learned, like I've learned about so many different backgrounds of life, perspectives of life, ideologies, methodologies that anyone can pick up anything. And I think that if you are an adult and you want to make sure like our future is like secured and like exciting and like happy and positive and like you really want to see a change, like it starts with giving back. It starts with introducing, our younger generation into these tools, for life, success for life, not just professionally, and I think sometimes in our society, like we even base our self-worth off of career and our professionalism and stuff like that. And sometimes that's not really what it's about. You know what I mean? Like, and I think somebody who's in their 50s, 60s has that wisdom. You know what I mean? Gary has it all the time. You know what I mean? And like, despite like his, the money he's made and stuff like that, like I think what's more important for me is like his internal life, his core support system, the people that love him in his life that show up, the people that keep him consistent. You know what I mean? Like that's what's really important in this world. It's not the money, it's not the greed, it's not all these external clamors that we all reach for. But yeah, that's what I would tell someone.
Yeah, no, that's so wise and it is so true. And I think that the beauty of having these conversations with people like yourself is a reminder that the next generation, yes, you all want to be successful in your career, but you want to be able to do more good in the world. Like you all aren't chasing just the shiny things and you don't respect people that are just have the shiny things but aren't like good people in the world too. I think
Yeah.
that that's such a really cool thing to hear from you all and definitely something that resonates with me too is like, yeah, like you want to become the person that's the whole person and giving back to the world and everything. And you also want to look up to people that are doing that. And so I just appreciate everything you had to say today, Corey. And
Thank you.
I am sure that anybody that has listened to this has been inspired by you and has had some good like reminders of like we are just full people, right? We come from somewhere, we've gone through challenges, we're going to continue to go through challenges, but we have so much to give to the world. And every single person can take that away from you of saying, like, you get to choose who you want to be and you get to show up as that every single day. And you
Mhm.
do such an amazing job at that. And so I'm just so glad to hear all that you're doing. And I'm excited to see
Thank you.
how that progresses. So thank you so much, Corey,
Thank
for
you. I also want to say thank you, Caitlin. You are also like a big piece of like me going to my first quantum leap and helping me get their scholarship, I think, and getting the ticket and stuff like that. So like you have been so instrumental and you've been such a like a part of this as a part of this community. Like I love hearing from you anytime, like whatever you need, like, try to make it work and I'll be available. So I appreciate you a lot.
we appreciate that so much. And yes, I'm just so glad you were able to come to QL Summit and you came back this year again.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's just, yes, a ticket definitely found a very good and worthy home. So I'm very glad that that all worked out. And yeah, it's just, I just love like to see you continue to grow into, the man that you're going to be. And I think you've heard me say is I deem myself the KW big sister kind of thing. And so it's like, I'm just a few years older than you all and you're like, in 20s. And so it's like, I just feel like I get to be like just a few years older and get to cheer you guys on and get to be proud of you. And it's just so great. I'm so glad you're part of this community and everything. And I'm sure anyone that has listened to this is just like going to be a raving fan. I'm excited to hear your music. So send it our way. Or is there any the listeners can find it yet? Or maybe coming
No,
soon?
not yet. Not
Okay.
yet. Coming
Good.
soon, though. Coming soon.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay. No pressure, but also pressure because you're going to grow into that.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Corey, thank you so, so much again for joining us on the KW Next Gen podcast. It was a joy to catch up with you and chat with you and just continue to be that light in this world, continue to help others with their mental health and their music and everything that you're just giving out to the world is really, really valuable. So, so appreciated.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity as well.
Thank you so much for joining for this episode of the KW Next Gen podcast. We hope that maybe your interest was piqued to attend a class or get more involved. If you're between the ages of 18 and 29, we would love to have you in a Quantum Leap class. So go to our website, kwnextgen.org, and click events. Find maybe an event in person near you or an event online. They're always being added, so check back if you don't see one that fits your schedule. And if you're beyond 30, we would absolutely appreciate you considering being a donor. KW NextGen cannot provide these events, coaching, or scholarships without generous donations like yours. So again, visit our website at kwnextgen.org and click donate. If you become a monthly donor, you get great perks, or a one-time gift is always appreciated of any size. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you next time. This podcast is for general information purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions of the guest represent those of the guest and not KW NextGen and its affiliates, and should not be construed as financial, economic, legal, tax, or other advice. This product is provided without any warranty or guarantee of its accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or results from using the information.